I wasn't one for exercise. I mean, heck, my daily routine consisted of me just sitting in front of my computer all day. Relatable. Ooh, dude, he's cool now. Is he gonna impress Ayase? Sorry, that's not the time. All right. There he is, that freaking jerk. I liked you before, you jerk. You freaking killed my favorite character. I'm gonna freaking end you. How's it going, everybody? HoodlaMutt here, back with some more Chaos Head Noah. And last time, Takumi was in a dream state with Shogun talking about stuff. And then we were with the girls, all of them, including Momose, when Momose found, or I guess technically, Ayase and Yua went back to find Momose with their now D-swords that they both have. And they went and found Momose and have been trying to get to shelter, or technically, that's what Momose wants. Ayase's been, like, trying to gather up all the Black Knights of Gladiol or whatever to fight back against whatever. I can't remember what the whole lore there is, but she's trying to gather all the Black Knights right now. Nobody found Ban. I'm still sad about that. I still believe he's out there somewhere. Still surviving somewhere. I don't know why, but I feel it. I'll feel it until this ends without him coming back. And then Takumi ran across Shogun while trying to go to save Dimi, and he was, well, actually, I think this was after he woke back up from the giant blinding light that we got smacked with, and he saw that Shogun was, like, dying on the ground, so he picked up Shogun, carried him on his back, and is now running to get to Dimi. So that's where we left off, so without further ado, let's just get back into this, shall we? As light as Shogun's body was, it was still nearly 20 kilograms. It was hard enough just carrying him around Shibuya, but it was even worse factoring in all the uneven roads. I wasn't one for exercise. I mean, heck, my daily routine consisted of me just sitting in front of my computer all day. Relatable. I considered finding a way to get Shogun to the hospital, but with Shibuya the way it was, I doubted I could even get an ambulance. Even the gentle hill that was Dogenzaka was doing its best to drain all my energy. I could barely breathe, and my whole body was gushing out buckets of sweat. Wiping the sweat off my forehead, I took a quick break to catch my breath. Reaching to the sky, an altar of commandments. For blasphemy toward God, it speaks of the painfully hellish rewards. Believe in those eyes. Listen when they tell you to walk. Do so one by one, linking hand in hand within the darkness. Suddenly, I could faintly hear someone's voice. Oh frick, that's Ayase! Oh shoot! Yeah, oh he's gonna run into Ayase. Okay, alright, let's go. Someone was singing, their voice rife with loneliness, but not without hope. Their soothing voice washed over me. I'd heard this singing somewhere before. Back at that concert. Even in spite of the glaring lights overwhelming my vision, and the blaring sound shaking the entire airtight building, I'd still managed to take it in. But this time, I was in the middle of the road, where I couldn't see a single sign of life. And yet, in the center of this collapsed city, dominated by death, I could hear her. Ayase? I put Shogun down and surveyed my surroundings once again. But the only people I could see were the collapsed corpses strewn across the city. I did my best to avoid looking at them, instead focusing on trying to find Ayase. Where the heck was her voice coming from? The road in front of me was wholly caved in. Looking at it, the hole it had created was incredibly big. There was definitely a subway tunnel beneath it. I didn't want to believe it at first, but even so, I peered down from the edge of the hole. It was about 5 meters deep. There was a pretty fair amount of rubble piled up at the bottom. And that was where Ayase had fallen. Fallen? What the frick?
Takumi.
Hold on! I'll save you! I jumped down into the hole. Oh, frick. Yeah, didn't something break? I almost forgot about that. Yeah, something broke last episode when she was with, because when she was with Momose and the others, didn't she, like, save them or try to save Nanami? Ah, frick, I forgot about that. Yeah, what the heck? I didn't stick the landing whatsoever. Instead, basically slamming into the rubble while just barely avoiding falling over. Oh no. Ayase's leg was pinned under a pretty sizable slab of concrete, stopping her from moving. I really did give it my best effort, but moving it just wasn't possible on my own.
I am not the only one. There are 3 others, including your sister.
Nanami's here? What the heck was she doing here? Hadn't that Norose guy kidnapped her? Nanami! Nanami! Are you there? Enduring the pain in my legs, I stood up and yelled out for my sister, but I got no reply. Looking around me, I only saw one other person beside Ayase. There was a pretty hefty woman lying face down on the ground, and while she wasn't moving, she only seemed to be unconscious. Oh, frick, Momose! Oh, that's right! Okay, so the whole thing collapsed. I thought, okay, man, I totally forgot that. It's been a hot second since I did the last episode. Oh, frick! No! Oh, no. Oh, frick. Okay. Nanami and one other person were absent. Maybe they'd been buried alive. I had to find them. Right this second! My eyes shot to the top of the hole. There was enough dust to make anyone hack their lungs out. But beyond that, I could see the circular shape of the sky above. I thought about Shogun, who I'd laid on the road up there. I remembered what Themi had told me.
The more delusions you have, the more the lifespan of the real you gets whittled away.
Does he care, though? He didn't seem to care before. But I couldn't hesitate here. Ooh! Ooh, dude, he's cool now! Is he gonna impress Ayase? Sorry, that's not the time. Alright. I drew my D-sword entirely from thin air. Consciously avoiding looking at her leg, I sat down near Ayase and peered at her face. I stared into her eyes, refusing to look at anything else. That should do the trick. Time for a delusion. A strong one. A really strong one. The rubble on your leg isn't that big. In fact, it's actually just a bunch of small pieces smashed together. It isn't heavy at all either. Nothing is stopping you from pulling your leg out from under it. Oh, he's doing that to get her to be able to... He's creating a delusion in her mind so that way it becomes real and then she'll be able to push it off. That's crazy. Is that what he's doing? That's freaking rad if that's what he's doing. And the other 2 can be saved just as easily. Me and Ayase. We only needed mutual recognition between us two gigalomaniacs. Because once we had that, then our delusion was sure to become reality. Oh, frick. Out of nowhere, Ayase smiled in relief. She gently stroked my cheek with her fingers.
'Tis the guidance of Gladiol. The fact that you came here.
I blinked nervously. Exactly as I'd deluded it to be. The large slab of concrete pinning Ayase's leg had now turned into a heap of smaller pieces. Pushing away some of the debris, Ayase slipped her leg right out. I really hadn't expected that to go so darn well. Starting to move, she massaged her ankle. Luckily, her injuries didn't seem all that bad. I could hear you singing, Ayase. That was what guided me here, really.
I see. It gladdens me that I continued to sing.
See, it's kind of cool too. I'm noticing that like he doesn't stutter anymore. You know, he used to like stutter all the time, but now he's freaking found his inner confidence, dude. He's getting confident. He's not afraid to talk to women anymore, dude. It's like once he embraced the fact that he was a delusion, he overcame all of his fears, you know? Well, technically he says he's doing it for Demi, but I don't know. I think it goes a little deeper than that, but I happened to notice that. That's interesting. Helping Ayase up, I stood and took a look around. Where's Nanami? I still didn't see any sign of my sister. Had my delusion failed after all? Or was Nanami already... I began to feel anxious.
Is anyone there?
I heard a voice. Looking in the direction of it, I saw a hand reaching out from a gap inside the rubble. And so, I took that hand, gripped its slender fingers, and peered into the gap. Oh no, Ayase, excuse me, Yua! Freaking Yua, no! She's trapped! No! Oh no! Help her! The gap was almost like a tunnel, and in that tunnel was a familiar-looking girl wearing glasses. It felt like it'd been ages since I'd last seen Yua.
Somehow, this hole, well, it appeared out of nowhere. It's strange. Until only a few moments ago, I couldn't move at all.
The girl averted her eyes from me, with a face that seemed almost apologetic. Hold on tight!
Huh?
I tightly gripped Yua's hand, and then I pulled as hard as I possibly could away from the gap. Ayase helped as well. With the two of us pulling Yua with all our might, she managed to break free from the rubble without too much trouble. Hey, let's go!
Thank you so much.
She was covered from head to toe in dust. A few pieces of concrete were tangled up in her long hair. But even with all of that, Yua seemed completely uninjured. And now, Nanami. Leaving Yua with Ayase, I started to search for Nanami. Given Yua had managed to break free, I could only assume that my delusion had actually worked. And if that was true, then Nanami should have been in some rubble somewhere that I could yank her free from. And lo and behold, that was exactly the case. As I searched through tons and tons more rubble, I managed to catch a glimpse of Nanami's face through a crack in the debris. Nanami! I called to her, but she didn't respond. She must have fainted. Reaching out, I went to touch her shoulder, but hesitated. Oh, he's worried she's gonna vanish like the last time, right? He doesn't know if she's real. A memory from yesterday flashed into my mind, of Nanami vanishing into particles right before my eyes. No, this has to be the real Nanami. Gathering my resolve, I grabbed her by the shoulder, or more specifically, by her blouse. I could actually touch her. I could feel her warmth. Just like I had with Yua a bit ago, I pulled her out with all my strength. Unlike Ayase or Yua, however, Nanami's uniform was stained with blood. Her hand especially was covered in red. Regardless, I laid her down on the ground, then went to check her breathing. She seemed to be in pain, but she was still breathing. Oh, thank God. Even so, I couldn't help but worry about her right hand. It was absolutely covered in blood. And yet, when I tried to grab it, my fingers slipped right through it. A delusional hand? Then, that could only mean Nanami's right hand was... I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I got you involved. A groan leaked from Nanami's mouth. Her face was caked in dust. I gently stroked her cheek and watched as her eyelids slowly began to open.
Big bro?
Her gaze faintly wandered for a moment before finally landing on me. Nanami. At that very moment, Nanami's expression warped and changed. Tremendous tears broke free from her eyes. Her left hand firmly grasped my own.
Big bro. Big bro.
She whispered to me so happily. It felt as if she never wanted to let me go. But when I heard those whispers, I responded with a slight shake of my head. Nanami, your actual older brother isn't me.
Huh?
My memories are so cloudy. That was how Nishijo Nanami felt. Her brother's words had been the trigger in her heart, and now she felt as if she had two brothers. However, what her heart told her was that it was not just as if she had two, but that she really did have two. Her mind flashed back to the past, and she remembered her two brothers' faces. One of them seemed quite pathetic. One of them was covered in wrinkles. And yet, despite these distinctions, She was still convinced that she only had a single brother. Something was not adding up. Something between her memories and her cognition. What was reality? What was illusion? She did not know, and that scared her. To escape this, she attempted to empty her mind of all thoughts. When suddenly, her own voice audibly rippled outward.
Nana, you need to stay strong.
Huh? The next thing she knew, she was standing in a hallway illuminated by the setting sun. She could smell disinfectant, and before her stood a rather plain door. She reached out toward it and took hold of the handle. And then, through no will of her own, her hand opened the door. What the frick?
Hey! This again? Are you seriously not gonna eat, big bro? How many times do I have to tell you to eat up? If you don't eat, you're never gonna get better. Oh, jeez. Is it because of the peas? You're not a little kid anymore, big bro. When are you gonna stop being so picky? Then again, I kinda hate peas too. So, if you wanna leave them off to the side, I get it. But still, you've gotta eat everything else. If you don't, she's gonna get really mad at me. You know, that super scary head nurse? Nanami.
Oh, the head nurse. Wait, is that freaking... Was that a freak? I can't remember her name suddenly. What the freak? Hazuki-san? Was that Hazuki-san that she's talking about? Oh no.
Yeah? I apologize for mistreating you so over the years. Huh. It really isn't like you to apologize. You don't need to overwork yourself for my sake anymore. I don't... What are you saying? I have to go into hiding. So, because of that, you don't need to come here anymore. What are you... This is goodbye.
Oh, yo! Oh no! And that was where her memories cut off. Did he cut off her memories from her? Did he sever her memories or something so she wouldn't keep coming back? Oh no! Those memories about her real brother. Her brother had been suffering from a serious illness, leading her to graciously spend many years tending to him in the hospital. No matter how much time had passed, she knew she had to stay strong so that she could best take care of him in his time of need. For the past year and a half, these things had disappeared from her memory entirely. She had forgotten that those memories had even existed. And in exchange for that, her brother had continued living on his own in good health, right there in Shibuya. Her mother had asked her to routinely check in on him, leading her to sometimes drop by on the way home from school. Oh my gosh, wait! Was the Nanami we were talking to, was that actually the real Nanami in the beginning? But her memories flipped over from the real Takumi to the delusional Takumi? Because Shogun made it happen? Did he make that happen, like, delusionally? Did he make her think that Delusion Takumi was her real brother? So she really fully believed it? That's why she believes she really has two brothers, but also believes she has one? Oh my gosh! No way. And thus, she had done so, thinking nothing of it. After all, he was her brother. Checking in on him might as well have already been routine. She had never housed any doubts about it.
Why did I forget all about you?
Nearly 30 minutes had passed since she had been rescued from beneath the rubble. And now, she had finally been reunited with her real brother. There he was, lying still on the road. He was still breathing, but remained unconscious. Oh, he's still alive. I thought that would have killed him. That was a really big delusion for him to have, like, literally made a delusion that saved 3, maybe 4 people's lives if you count Momose, but I think she was technically okay, according to his description of her. Well, 2 people, actually. I guess it saved 2 people. It saved Yua and... Well, no, it saved Ayase. I mean, it got her leg free, but, I mean, the other 2 might have been, like, legitimately dead because they were buried, you know what I mean? That's interesting. His body was as small, wrinkled, emaciated, and incredibly weak as she remembered. It was the brother from so long ago whom she had always known. Oh, frick. No, don't show me that. Don't show me that. No, no, no. Also, how is she still going? Is it because of our delusion? Did we save her? Did we revitalize her? No, her hand. Oh, frick me. Oh. Oh, no.
This is just too much. I spent all of my time lecturing you. All of it. But...
Though her brother did not reply, she clung to his small body all the same, letting loose a flood of tears.
Never did I ever think about forgetting you, big bro. You're so selfish. Really, how could you be this selfish?
The sound of metal lightly scraping against something came from within her brother's clothes, and a moment later, something slipped free from his pocket. Oh! He had it this whole time! Oh my gosh! So he really straight up did send us the hand. Oh no. Oh. Oh yeah. Yup, and then he had the bangle. And then what? I think it said Demi. I think they said Demi went back and took it while we were gone and then brought it back to him or something. Shoot, so much of everything is blending together. I can't remember what happened. Oh, the bangle. It was what Nanami had been searching for. When she lost her right hand, she lost it as well. A flimsy, cheap bangle with a snowflake motif. Confused, she stared at her real brother's face, but his eyes, buried in wrinkles, did not open in return. Nanami picked up the bangle with her left hand. She remembered how it felt to touch. It was her brother's first present to her, Nanami's greatest treasure. Nanami lifted her gaze, unconsciously searching for her other brother. He was holding a long sword, and his back was turned to her. But he was walking away. He was leaving this place, even without saying a word, Nanami could understand that much. The fact that he might leave without saying even a word to her left her wrought with a terrible loneliness. Go to him. Nanami's brow furrowed in confusion, and she softly searched around herself.
Where did...
It was her brother's voice. That much she indeed remembered. The voice of her brother, who should have been unconscious. He and I are one in body and soul. He is like another brother to you. Whether it was truly her brother's voice or a mere hallucination, Nanami could not tell. And yet, regardless of which it was, she whispered all the same.
Yeah. You're right.
She whispered to her brother, who still lay on the ground. Ayo. Nanami stood up and walked toward her older brother's back. She hardly had any strength left. Day after day, she had been trapped in a pitch-black room, forced to take part in some sick tableau of agonizing crucifixion. She could not even remember how many times she had thought she would die. Her right hand in particular caused her tremendous amounts of pain, as if a chisel was being struck into it all the way to the bone. The sensation that she lacked her hand, together with the illusion that it still remained, were tearing her mind in two. She was exhausted, both mentally and physically. If she lost focus, there was no doubt she would fall to the ground, too drained to get back up again. Therefore, she had to make a desperate effort to reach her hand out at this very instant. Even if it took more effort than she could give, she would do everything in her power to make him stop.
Wait.
She narrowly managed to squeeze something out, and thankfully, he had heard. He halted his stride and looked back toward Nanami. Even though she had managed to stop him, she was lost on what exactly to say to him. The reality that this person was not her brother at all. The conviction that this person was her brother to the end. Those two feelings had blended together in her head, making them even harder to discern. But she gripped her bangle tightly in her left hand. It had been his gift to her, one that felt cold to the touch, but warm to the heart. The very existence of this bangle linked both him and her together. That was how she felt. And that answer was all she needed. Her hesitation instantly faded.
Big bro. Even though you might not actually be my brother, You're not very reliable. You're a total nerd. Always collecting anime doll things. And you say a lot of mean things, are never really nice to people, and are pretty much always rude. But you're still my big bro.
Trying her hardest to fight back her tears, Nanami smiled as best she could. Thank you, Nanami. Upon gazing at his expression, she saw that her other brother seemed a little embarrassed, and with that, Relief washed over Nanami, before slowly putting her consciousness to rest. Yo. Oh! Wait, she fell! Go back and help her! Nanami nearly collapsed, and I hurriedly went to catch her. Oh, he did. Okay, I didn't even read the full sentence. I just heard her collapse, and I thought he was just walking away. Okay. Okay. She lost consciousness. Her face was pale, and she was clearly having trouble breathing.
We need to get her to the hospital right away. She's losing an awful lot of blood.
The hefty woman, who had introduced herself as Momose, peered at Nanami's face as she voiced her concern. Next, she turned to Shogun.
The same goes for the boy resting there.
I decided to leave Nanami in Momose-san's care. Keep them safe. Please.
What are you going to do?
There's someone I need to find, so I could learn the whereabouts of Noah too. I had asked Nanami, since she had been taken there when she was kidnapped, but she wasn't too sure of it herself. In the end, I had no choice but to find Hatano.
Is this something you truly must do? To overthrow Gladio?
Gladio. Replace that with Noah too, and... yeah, I do. Ayase's expression stiffened. She took a single step toward me. By the way she slightly dragged her leg, I could tell she had genuinely been injured.
Then I will follow. Take me with you.
You don't have to do that. Even though I tried to tell her no, she only shook her head in refusal.
The seven all must gather.
Ayase, I want you and Yua to find someone for me. Their name is Hatano. At the mere mention of her name, Yua jumped a little from her hiding spot behind Momose. I need you to find them, because they know where to find Noah too. Even if we don't search together, I'll still know everything you see and hear. Yeah, because he can see everybody's... That's really wild. So all the stuff that we saw as an audience was actually Takumi seeing all those things. That's so freaking weird. So, let's split up and start looking. That was the best option we had at the moment. And we had to be quick about it. There was no guarantee we'd be safe if another earthquake struck.
Understood.
Ayase seemed to agree with me, though she didn't look all that happy about it.
I'm not quite sure I follow.
Norose Genichi has been behind it all since the very beginning. He's the mastermind. Dude, this is wild. He just had like this whole download. He understands everything now. That's so freaking weird. Yo.
So that's how it is. Then please, go do what you need to do. I'll take care of everyone here.
Momose-san puffed out her chest in a display of bravado. And then, she gave me a quick nod, likely in an attempt to cheer me on.
Just don't do anything rash. And one more favor, if you don't mind.
Is she gonna ask about Ban?
If you happen to run into Ban-chan, if you happen to run into a seedy-looking detective with a goofy grin, Could you please tell him to contact me?
Yes! Bon and freaking Momose, baby! I said it from the beginning! Dude is gonna be cute! He's gotta live! He must live! He's gonna come in and he's gonna have a gun, dude! And he's gonna freaking save us while we're at the freaking Noah 2 project, because he's gonna have tracked him down or something, dude. He's gonna be injured, but he's gonna come in with a gun, he's gonna bit freaking Norose or something. No, maybe not, because we probably have to be the ones to take down Norose or something, right? Or maybe not, maybe no, because our goal is just to kill Noah 2, right? We just gotta destroy the machine. So if Norose gets in the way, Bond's actually been trying to see who's been behind all of this. I bet he's gotta be the one, right? That would be freaking awesome. It'll be awesome, dude. Somehow he was able to stop freaking Suwa or something. Ah, man, he's gotta be alive. I believe. I freaking believe. Oh. Did she mean Ban Yasuji? That's right, I forgot, because he sees everything we saw. Does he know if he's actually dead? I knew all about how he had died. No! No! My hopes and dreams, please! Please tell me you don't know! Please tell me you don't know! Tell me you don't know! You just saw that part and then it stopped! Tell me you saw it and then it stopped! Please! Please! It can't be real! No! It has to be that you just didn't get to see that part. We never saw him die. I'm holding on to it. I don't freaking care what the game tells me. I'm hanging on to it. I won't. I'll stay in denial. I'll do it. Don't test me. No! He had been shot and killed by his own partner. I had unconsciously seen it all unfold. I fully intended to tell Momose this, but... Seriously? What could he possibly be doing at a time like this? Well, that man is full of surprises. So maybe he decided to stop and help out some of the wounded. Momose had to go and say something like that. And now, I could no longer bring myself to tell her the truth. Well, you better get going. Thank you. Yeah. Without meaning to, I'd nodded, making a promise I'd never be able to keep. But that had been the only answer I could have ever thought to make. Nishicho-kun. With her head lowered, Yua spoke with a barely audible voice. For a good while now, she had been nervously taking peeks at me, which made me think she had something to say. I'm sorry I ever doubted you. And that I ever said such hurtful things to you. The lenses of her glasses were covered in dust, and yet, I knew very well that behind me, her eyes were wet with tears. Even if I apologize, after everything I did, it would never be enough. But even so, I still want to apologize anyway. I'm so sorry. She bowed her head deeply. I didn't reply. All I did was turn my back to her. The Seira figures. The ones in my base. Yes? If you want, could you take them off my hands? Aw, dude! He gave her his prize collection. I was about ready to get mad at him for not saying anything too, but that's so much better than if he did. Yes! So he must think he's gonna disappear or something. Either that or he doesn't care anymore. It's one of the two. He doesn't care about that old life that he lived. But that's so cute. That's awesome. Huh? Back when she'd deceived me, I couldn't have been more shocked. But now, I understood why she had done what she'd done. So it just felt wrong to say, I forgive you, or something along those lines. All right, that's fair. I could see that, yeah. All right. I mean, I still think, like, letting, but that's better. I still think it's better, I guess. I keep wanting to say, I still feel like you should let her know, but that's letting her know right there, so, It was true that I had always thought of her as my enemy, but I had no right to make her bow to me, nor any right to forgive her. Oh, okay. That's interesting. That's different. Sure. That's a strange way to look at it, I guess. You are kind of forgiving her by giving her your collection. So, okay.
Are you sure?
Yeah. I want you to have them.
All right. All right. Sometime in the future, let's go buy some new ones together. Okay?
And with that, you will put on the same gentle smile she'd had when we'd first met. I nodded to her in response. I exchanged looks with both Ayase and Momose-san. Then, I etched the image of Nanami and Shogun into my eyes one last time. And so, I began walking alone among the mountains of rubble once again. Shinsen Station of the Inokashira line was one stop from Shibuya, with it taking only about a minute to arrive there by train. The station itself was situated within an underground tunnel, resulting in the one natural light being the beams seeping in from the opening at the end of the platform. Due to the earthquake, all of the lights had gone out, enveloping the area in a far thicker darkness than usual. Hey! Oh, it's our girls! I thought we were with freaking Takumi still. Okay. Alright, we're with freaking Senna and Kozue. Let's go. Carefully supporting Orihara Kozue's body, Aoi Senna set foot onto the platform. There had been no need to buy a ticket. Not a single staff member was present in the vicinity, and none of the ticket machines were in service. Only a glance was necessary to understand how horribly warped the railway tracks had become. It was no wonder that the trains had suspended operation the day before.
Funyu. Ouchie. Wouchie.
Kozue's left leg was drenched in blood. No! She had been deeply cut by broken glass during the earthquake. Senna had attempted to staunch the flow of blood with a towel, but the wound was far worse than she had supposed. Basic first aid would not suffice. Gigalomaniacs are unable to use their powers to heal wounds. To the brain, pain is an inescapable reminder of reality. Thus, Gigalomaniacs cannot form any sort of mutual recognition to the effect of, I'm not wounded, or the injury didn't happen. Human instinct would never allow it. Well, wait, but he was able to, So how does that work, though? Because, so technically, Takumi just saved everybody in the rubble by saying the rubble wasn't really as bad as it was. So I guess they were technically still alive down there when he did that? But, how can Shogun create a whole new person but not heal wounds? How does that work? You know what I mean? Doesn't that seem somewhat contradictory? Because if you can create a whole new existence, why couldn't you heal that existence? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I feel like that doesn't make a ton of sense. Maybe I'm missing something, though. Because they're saying that the pain makes it that way, but, like... So, like, you can create a whole new human, but you can't heal because the pain you feel that your brain registers says that it's still there, so you can't delusion yourself into healing because the pain is the former reality or whatever it was saying that, like, you can never get past, I guess. I just don't see how you could create a whole new, like, a delusional person and not be able to heal a person that already exists. Like, could you heal a delusion? Could Takumi be healed? No, because Shogun said that Takumi became a full person when he had mutual recognition or whatever. I can't remember exactly how that went down, but he basically said you're a real person because we share body and soul, but also, like, because you basically said that you exist, therefore you exist, right? So you mutual recognized yourself into existence. So how could you not mutually recognize a wound being healed into existence? I don't know. Doesn't make sense to me.
I don't want to walk anymore.
Even with Kozue's teary protests, Senna remained wordless as she marched intently toward Shinsen Station. Only one thing held her focus, something she refused to divert any attention from. When they at last reached the deserted platform, Senna quickly pulled back the arm she had been using to support Kozue. With no strength remaining in one of her legs, Kozue immediately collapsed to the ground. Yo, Senna, what the frick? Kozue lifted her gaze in bewilderment, but Senna paid her no mind. Glaring motionlessly at a certain point in the distance, the black-haired girl gritted her teeth. Finally. I finally found you! At the end of her gaze, in the dark recesses of the platform, sat a lone human figure. Yo, Takumi's gonna have to fight off Senna because he needs to get information from Hatano. Doesn't he? Oh dude, this is gonna get wild because she was about ready to kill us prior. Now we're a lot cooler than we were a little bit ago. So dang, this is gonna be a sick sword fight.
Whoa, that's Senna-shan's pappy.
Oh. It was a homeless man clad in filthy rags. In his hands, he held a sign that read, "The hearts of the people face annihilation." Senna slowly approached the man. Who is that message directed toward? Her voice was cold and unfeeling, a tone that could freeze all who came in contact with it. To those who can change negative into positive, it is my last will and testament. Senna. Keeping his head hung low, the homeless man did not even look his daughter in the eye as he dispassionately spoke her name. Yo. Don't say my name like we're family. For the past 6 months, I've only thought of one thing. How I would finally kill you. I thank you for that. Why the heck are you thanking me? For entirely selfish reasons. That perhaps the most I can do to atone is to let you kill me. Those are where my thoughts lie. Say no more. Yo. Oh, yo. Senna real booted her D-sword. The method she had chosen for her father's execution was death by her D-sword. Poetic. The simplicity behind it laid the bare truth. The way she killed him did not matter. All that mattered was killing him at all. I'm sorry. Hatano still refused to raise his head.
Why are you apologizing?
Because this act will follow you for the rest of your life, and I placed it on you. Patricide carries a great weight.
I don't care what happens to me, so long as I can kill you. You killed my mother and sister.
That is indeed the truth.
And they died in such horrible ways.
Senna could only act calm and collected for so long. As her emotions began to take control, she was seized by a fierce tremble. Yo. I never wanted you to see that. No. Please disregard what I just said.
Why did you do it?
To explain the process behind it all would be meaningless. You would not accept it, nor would it change the outcome. Senna thrust the tip of her D-sword toward Hatano's head.
Is this your way of running away again?
I was gravely mistaken. There is nothing more I can say.
I'm so disappointed in you.
What is it you still expect of me? Everything in the world, people included, is an electronic device. You said that yourself, Senna. Senna's shoulders trembled. For nearly 3 years, ever since Hatano had begun the Mana Project, the two of them had rarely come into contact. And yet, despite this significant time apart, Hatano had seen right through her, something which troubled her to no end. Distraught by the sheer discomfort she felt, the wavering of her heart morphed into nothing but pure fury, dispelling any form of reason she still had within her. Don't be deceived, Senna. If we were just electronic devices, then even your hatred toward me would be nothing more than electrical signals. Hatano is just trying to overwhelm me. That was what Senna told herself. Calm down.
Your words mean nothing to me.
You cannot let your actions be ruled by emotions. If you don't maintain control, you will end up facing contradictions. Reject those words. They are the product of a mental attack. Yo! Oh, dang! So he's saying emotions are mental attacks, yo. Are all emotions mental attacks, or is it just certain ones? How does he know? Huh. I wonder if they're wanting her to kill Hatano, so they've been actually putting like mental attacks like via her psyche for her to want to kill her father, so that he can't ever do anything to stop them. Though he's not trying, though, right? So that doesn't really make sense. But I mean, you know, tying up loose ends, I guess. Interesting. Suspend your judgment.
Enough talk!
Senna tried to take a stance with her D-sword. But before she could, Hatano suddenly stood up. Kozue watched their exchange with unease, and when she wondered if she should interfere, the pain in her leg forced her to abandon all hope of doing so. She was not sad, but that did not stop her from weeping deep within herself. Hatano took one large step forward. Her response delayed. Senna switched to an offensive position, but in her attempt to brace herself, her feet slipped on the gravel. As her body shook and staggered, her stance began to collapse. Any sort of edge her appearance had once held disappeared, and in its place came a great fear. What? Her hatred toward her father was what had given her the strength to persist. But now that the time had come to face him at last, she found herself deeply afraid. She did not quite understand why that was. All she knew was that the cause lay within the words he had just spoken. Hatano threw himself at her with tremendous speed.
No!
As she fell backward, ignoring both gravity and centrifugal force alike. She swung her enormous D-sword up from below. Ooh! The blade first carved out the tile of the platform floor, and then it slashed straight through her father's shoulder. It moved with a fluidity akin to a hot knife through butter. Her father's hands sent her flying backward. Oh, frick! Fresh blood burst from her father's injury. His eyes were colored with an expression of deep relief. Senna's teeth sank into her lip. Oh! Not even a second later, something pierced her father's chest at lightning speed. Is that a bullet? No, it's not. Oh, frick. Wait, I thought that was a bullet underneath the slash. What the frick? Tearing in through his back, it flew straight through the man's chest, very narrowly grazed Senna, then swiftly disappeared. Did he get shot? Did he actually get shot? I heard a gunshot, I thought. Now blood gushed not just from his shoulder, but from his chest as well. The crimson liquid flowing from his wounds splattered against Senna's cheeks. A bullet? Yo, it was a bullet! What the frick? Who shot him? I thought that looked like maybe a bullet wound, but I don't actually see a bullet wound. It's in his chest, it said, so I thought it was underneath the other wound, but I heard the gunshot. Okay, what the frick? Having been thrown backward, the moment Senna landed on her rear, her head shot right back up, and she frantically searched for the shooter. Where? Whoopsie! Swing and a miss. A man stood in the crossway between the Shinsen Station tunnel and the tunnel leading to Shibuya Station, the sole place illuminated by a gaping patch of sky above. He was holding a handgun. Suwa? Well, even then, I'd say that was still pretty darn good for the range I'm at. Senna's father collapsed beside her. Half of his body was already soaked in blood. Dude, I think it is! And I think her dad just saved her! He just jumped in the way of a bullet for her! No! Why? Why do you have to make everything sad? No, he even said it was a mental attack. He knew that they were trying to mess with her. I bet Kasuo was trying to probably assassinate her or something. Oh no! No! No. Were you protecting me? Overcome with disbelief, Senna fixed her gaze on the pool of blood spilling over the tile floor. Oh no! Words breed chaos. Gasping for air, her father weakly spoke. You're much too honest, Senna. When I see you shine so, I'm left fraught with a terrible sadness. and overwhelmed with affection. The bullet had been meant for Senna, but Hatano had taken it in her place. No! She had been trying to take her father's life, but he had given it for her instead.
You're kidding me.
Senna tightened her grip on the D-sword she held in her hand. Well, as far as I'm concerned, that's no biggie. The Hatano daddy-daughter duo dying was all part of the plan anyway. An odd noise echoed throughout the platform, a sound Senna instantly recognized as a Noah 2 terminal. What? How long had that sound been going on for? So was her desire to kill him because she had been listening to this sound or whatever? What? Senna would not let it continue. The existence of the man who had stepped between her and her father, the man whose gun had prematurely ended their resolution, was something she would not let continue.
How dare you! Get in the way between!
When she stood up and fixed her eyes ahead, the cries of an infant began to resound throughout the dimly lit platform. Oh frick, she's hearing her sister! A sense of strange discomfort grew in her hands, and for some reason, she could not comprehend. Instead of a sword, she was clutching a decayed, desiccated baby. In an action motivated by reflex, she cast it away from her. But immediately after she had done so, she realized that child was her own sister. Her sister, whom she had only seen once before, long ago. Her sister, whose name she did not know, and whose own mother had devoured her until hardly anything remained. That was the child before her. Large avulsions where chunks of meat had been bitten free covered her entire frame. Each tear in her dry skin provided a window to view glistening fragments of white bone, and the pink scraps of flesh adhered to them. Senna began to tremble once more. She could not take her eyes off of it. She could not forgive herself for feeling disgusted at her own sister, let alone tossing her aside like filth. It was exactly like back then, when she had seen her mother's last moments. Her mother, who had died while ruled completely by madness. Still nestled within her mother's arms, her sister had been shredded to pieces and consumed, left only as a heap of pitiful remains. In response to the sight that she had been forced to witness, rather than sadness or horror, what she had felt was pure, utter revulsion. Remnants of guilt remained lodged deep within her chest. Despising her father was her way of averting her eyes from that emotion. Even though a part of her very much knew that this was an attack brought on by a delusion. It reawakened feelings that had been sealed deep within her heart, leaving her entirely motionless. It was as if her wrists and ankles were bound. But Senna was not the only one suffering from such a state. Kozoe was as well. An enormous mirror had materialized in front of the collapsed girl, and within it, a reflection of her, with her legs covered in blood, asked her a single question.
Who are you?
Kozue froze in terror. Large tears began to flow from her eyes. The wounds she wanted to forget. The past she never wanted to remember. Tears of a deep decay began leaking from her heart and mind. She wanted to run away as far as her legs could take her. Desiring nothing more than to look away from the mirror, she wished to turn away. Yet, foregoing her will entirely, her body refused to move. Herself on the other side of the mirror was not shedding even a single tear.
Who are you? 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 Who am I? 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 Who am I?
She was collapsing into Gesteltzerfall. Oh, frick! Just like when she had lost all words long ago. Just like when her heart and mind had been broken so long ago. No longer able to see herself, she herself questioned herself in the mirror. She lacked any certainty that it was her own voice. She lacked any certainty that it was her own hairstyle. She lacked any certainty that it was her own nose. She lacked any certainty that it was her own pair of eyes. She lacked any certainty that it was the fullness of her own lips. She lacked any certainty that it was her own shape. She lacked any certainty that it was her own face.
Who am I?
You're Kozapi! Her shape in the mirror had been on the cusp of dividing infinitely, but the voice that had suddenly burst into her mind had put a stop to it.
I'm Kozapi. I'm Kozapi!
Hey, she broke free. Let's go. Let's go, baby. I knew I liked Kozue, dude. She's going to be freaking tough. She's going to freaking defend freaking Senna until we can get there, I bet. Dude, this is going to be awesome. Dude. So here's the thing, right? So everybody's falling under these delusions. I wonder if Ayase and Yua will as well. We already know Yua did. She was on the top of the building with herself, right? So did Ayase yet? I don't remember. I don't think she did yet. But like everyone else is falling prey to delusions. I wonder if Takumi isn't able to anymore. I wonder if once he awakened, which is why Shogun wanted him to awaken, that he would be like delusion proof. Like they couldn't do any mental attacks on him anymore because he's a delusion himself. I wonder if it like there's something to that. Even though he's fully real, he's also still a delusion. I wonder if that like that element is still there, you know? And that's what prevents him from being attacked mentally like how these guys are right now. I'm wondering. My brain's kind of running all the gears right now. So this is going to be interesting to see how this turns out. She reconfirmed her identity. Kozue had returned to herself. Cracks ripped through the enormous mirror before her, and then it shattered into pieces. Kozue searched for the voice of her savior. When her gaze arrived at the ticket gate, she recognized exactly who it was. Her real voice, the one that would have been lost forever, called out to him. Wait, is it Takumi?
Takumi-san!
It is Takumi, let's go! Oh, he was the one that said it. Yo! Let's go! I thought she said it to herself. Oh, he broke her out of it. Let's go! Oh my gosh, he's there to save him! Yes, and he's gonna freaking slay Suwa, dude! Let's go! Kozupi called out. Not with her inner voice, but with her real voice. I realized that it was the first time I'd ever heard her use it. Let's go! It was thanks to Kozupi that I'd managed to get over here so quickly. I'd been next to a police box at the top of Dogenzaka when I'd heard her inner voice screaming for help. Running toward that voice had brought me here, and when I got here, I saw Senna and Kozupi, faces pale from being shown a delusion I couldn't see, and Hatano-san, collapsed and covered in blood. I'd found them, but I was too late. No. There he is, that freaking jerk. I liked you before, you jerk. You freaking killed my favorite character. I'm gonna freaking end you. Takumi's gonna freaking shred you to pieces. He's gonna be like how he was when he bought the fake D-sword. He's gonna be like how he was like in his brain. He's like, I wish I could like take their heart out and cut it out and freaking eat it right in front of them or whatever the freak he said. I want it to happen. I want it to happen. Freaking destroy him. He killed Ban. I loved Ban. Ban was awesome. I want Ban to still be alive, though. I'm holding on to it, but gosh darn it if he's actually dead. I don't care. Sua's still here, so that means something happened to Ban. Please tell me he's still there somehow. Somehow. Oh, man. Talk about a stroke of luck. A man with a gun in his hand was standing at the crossing. He twirled and whirled it around his fingers, as if he was some sort of gunslinger. Contrasting heavily with the suit he was wearing, he had a rucksack on his back. A harsh mechanical noise was emanating from it. Yo, he's a porter. Oh, frick. Well, maybe he's not. Maybe he's just using the pack, right? Because the porters were like, they seemed to, well, no, I guess you would consider him a porter. I was going to say because they seemed like they were unsuspecting individuals, but I don't think they were. I think they were all hired. Some of them probably just were more knowing what was going on than others. Because the guy that went after Yua, he knew. He was like, wait, I didn't know she was a gigalomaniac. What the frick, you know? But then the guy that Senna got way in the, like, you know, toward the, like, beginning, like, you know, probably second half of the game. The beginning of the second half, I mean. Like, that dude was like, oh, no, what's happening? Ah, or something like that. I can't remember, but he was a lot more afraid. Like, he didn't understand what was going on, so. Interesting. Suwa Mamoru, a detective from the Tokyo MPD's 1st Investigative Division. This wasn't the first time I'd run into him. And I knew exactly what he'd done. You see, I originally came here to get rid of those annoying Hatanos. But look who decided to crash the party! What's up, Nishijo-kun? I really appreciate you tossing yourself into the line of fire like that. I was told to grab you if I ran into you, so here we are! By who? That one's top secret. He smiled a flippant smile. One that was somewhat reminiscent of Detective Bond's. Don't you dare, don't you even, if he mentions his name, don't you even mention his name. I know Takumi said it, but I'm waiting, he's gonna say something about it, and that's gonna trigger me so bad, dude. I'm gonna freaking, this gonna be my, I'm gonna freaking, I don't even know what I'm gonna do, dude. I'm gonna flip a table or something. But there was one key difference. Detective Bond's smile had always been just an act. An act meant to throw people off, or rile them up. When it came to Suwa, however, this sly smile was who he truly was. Hey, jerk. You know where to find Norose? Oh, come on, Nishijo-kun. Suwa heaved a sigh, shaking his head in an extremely exaggerated motion. Would it kill you to throw a bit more respect my way? I'm older than you know. You were the one who killed Ban. No. Yeah? What of it? You freaking, I'm gonna kill him, dude. Dude, I want to see it happen. They better give us, I want a CG for it. I want a CG of him getting stabbed right through the chest, dude. I want it so bad. Holy frick, I'm so mad, because I thought Bond would still be alive, and every time they keep talking, it's making me feel less and less like he's alive. No, it can't be. We didn't see it happen. We didn't see it happen. It can't be real. It can't be. We didn't see it. That's like Rule 101 about film, dude, and about stories that you tell in media. If you don't see it happen, it didn't happen. They can always change it. It's gotta be. It's got to be. He didn't actually kill him, and then Bond's gonna come back and shoot him. Please, I beg you, please. That'd be even better than Takumi cutting him up. That'd be so much better if Bond just comes and bam, fires him with a gun that he found or something. I don't know. I want it though. Dude, it would be awesome. No. You're a detective, yet you go as low as to kill people. I don't want to hear that from you of all people, man. I gripped my D-sword tightly, as if I'd ever be polite to a jerk like you. You kiss your mother with that mouth? Ew, 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 look at that face, gross, gross, ew, no, oh no, this is gross, I don't like it, I don't like this, oh no. I'll freaking kill you, you virgin piece of crap. Even from this distance, it was clear to see. The smile on Suwa's face had disappeared. Without moving from where he was, he gestured with his free hand like he was trying to shake something off. Oh!
Takumi-san! Look out!
An impact, followed by pain. It was an all too abrupt sensation. When I looked at my shoulder in surprise, I saw a familiar-looking cross pierced into it. Oh no! No. It was no cross. It was a stake. A cross-shaped stake from the crucifixion case. It had come at me too fast to see. The area was so dark, I hadn't even realized it was flying toward me until it had already hit me. Suwa had thrown it, without moving from his spot. He'd thrown it from that distance with pinpoint accuracy. I cautiously touched the stake. It felt cold and smooth. Was it a delusion? Or was it real? The pain was growing more and more intense. I couldn't put any strength into my hand. I wasn't able to hold onto my D-sword anymore. You know, I think it's time for a reenactment. Suwa raised his voice in an attempt to suppress his rage. I could do with a rerun of the crucifixion case. No, what? I can't stop here. I have to keep going. Usually I would stop. This is a long freaking episode, but I can't stop here. I gotta keep going, brother. Not even a moment later, Suwa was holding even more cross-shaped stakes in his hand. Doing his best to restrain his furious rage that was on the verge of pouring out, he fired off the additional stakes toward Nishijo Takumi. Dude, this freaking music! Dodge that crap! They disregarded all form of drag and the laws of physics altogether. Yeah! As if they possessed wills of their own, they sped intently toward Takumi's arms. 15 had found their mark thus far. Not a single one had missed. Holy crap! They had assaulted Takumi's shoulders, upper arms, wrists, palms, hips, thighs, knees, and shins. Blood spilled from every one of his deeply carved wounds. You know, it kinda sucks the fun out of darts when you can't screw up. Suo already had another stake in his hand, and once again, he fired it off just like the others. It's kinda like I'm some all-powerful god or something. He's probably not even listening to me anyway, Suo thought to himself. Yo! Each and every yet another stake carved into my body only who hung his head at the mercy of his attacker. What the frick? We're like in Takumi's head and like from a third-person view. What is happening? Even a normal guy like me can mess around with the same powers you freaks have got. All of it could be attributed to the rucksack the man was wearing on his back. A bag housing a Noah 2 terminal within it. With that, he could enjoy Noah 2's power even at a distance. He would become an artificial gigglomaniac. Suo found himself bewitched by its power. What is happening right now? He was among the vanguards who would commit the dirtiest of deeds in the name of the founder and his teachings. This power's a gift from God. Gives me the strength to fight for what I believe in, for the divine light. Suo hurled yet another stake. Yo! It penetrated the nape of my Takumi's neck. I was racked with extreme bloodlust simmering in Suo's heart as if my entire body was being just how much pain the boy could endure. Pain so horrible, I felt as if I might go insane. Springing forth from the torture taking place, death began to rear its head in him. I was unable to resist, and while I still managed to put enough force into my legs to stop myself from falling over. Is there like a freaking narrator that is like the eyes that have been watching us? I thought that was Shogun or whatever, right? So is like Shogun's not watching us, is he? Is he the one saying all this? None of that could have prevented the hail of stakes coming at me. My chest, my stomach, his stomach, my toes, his toes, my entire body. With no mercy in sight, stakes both thick and sharp were continually pounded into me. It's like pinning an insect so you can put it up on display. But not some stag beetle or butterfly. Nah, some crappy little dung beetle. More your speed, you little jerk. Takumi stand for another second. Willpower baffled was all that could possibly be keeping him from collapsing. But I knew the boy was almost at his limit. My field of vision was becoming pixelated. He likely could not see. It was hard to see anymore. So we're like in Sua's head and Takumi's. Okay, that's what I initially thought, but it's the way it's narrating. It sounds really weird. It seemed like it was coming from Suo because, you know, we've never been in Sua's head. It's always from like a third-person perspective narrator position. So like, okay. If you got any last words, better make it quick. 20 words or less. Tightly clutching the next stake, Suo was talking to me as if he had already won. The next would kill me. Earlier, you called me a virgin piece of crap, right? Aw, did that hurt your feelings? Though the light in Takumi's eyes as a guide to die, I glared in Sua's direction all the same.
This one'll end it. And may the divine light
never save your sorry self! I could sense the air tearing around the stake that Sua had hurled.
Haven't you heard?
Oh! The stake would serve as the cross, the messenger bringing both certain death and the promised gospel. Is he gonna say I'm the Messiah? What is he gonna say? Death would come to whomever it struck. It's virgins who have the best illusions. Oh, dude! Yo, that's in a weird way, that's kinda cooler. Yo! A dull thud resounded. Yo, did he just turn the cross on Sua and stab him in the heart with it? What?! The stake had deeply penetrated his forehead. Did he switch places with him? No way! As if it had been entirely exploded within Sua, the intense pain that had consumed every part of my entire body immediately disappeared. Dude, even the text switched! Takumi's was on top and Sua's was on bottom, and now it switched! Yo! Sua let out a mute scream, then slowly writhing in agony lips. An array of cross-shaped stakes penetrated Sua's entire body. When I looked upward, I saw the cross-shaped stake embedded in his forehead. The miracle of resurrection is just a fairy tale. A delusion.
What did you do?
A delusion synchro. What? Assimilation unto a delusion. Like two ripples negating, resonating with one another. Entangling together. A fate which is distorted, created by another. Switching them out.
There's no way that's possible!
Sua's expression laid his thoughts bare. There it is, Messiah! It just showed up, I saw it! Yo! Oh my gosh, I was right, it did come up! What the frick? If you're God's vanguard, then crumble away just like the freaking Messiah himself. I tossed the stake away. Color was quickly fading from Sua's field of vision. And guess what? I don't give a crap about your salvation. Yo! Yo! Sua could no longer reply. Without falling to the ground, he breathed his final breath. What the frick is this symbology, dude? What is this symbolism, yo? I'm trying to understand it. What does this mean? I made my way back into the station. Kozupi's eyes were wide, and her mouth hung open. She was completely stunned. Seeing all that must have really surprised her. Her leg was covered in so much blood, it was hard to look at. Kozupi, you okay? Without getting up from the ground, she nodded. It didn't look like she was able to stand on her own. Her shimmering eyes looked up at me. Yo.
Takumi-san. Just nowsies. What the heck was that?
Kozupi, you're talking out loud.
Huh? Whoa! Takumi-san's right!
Putting a finger to her lip, she tilted her head in surprise. Aw! He got her to be able to talk. But she seemed to forget about it pretty quickly after that. Dude, my emotions are so conflicted right now. I'm like, oh, this is so cute. But then like a second ago, I was just like, what is going on? What is this like symbolism? And he's like, I don't freaking care about your salvation. He just freaking switched place. My brain, I can't keep up. There's too many feelings. Oh my gosh.
Umsies, is it true that virgins have the super bestiest best delusions of all time?
Yeah. The best. Senna once told me ignorance was a sin, but I don't quite agree with that. Not knowing things goes hand in hand with delusions. The less you know, the more your delusions can grow and surge, to the point of infinity, really. Therefore, if you already know and have experienced everything, there'd be nothing left to fantasize about. Interesting. That's an interesting concept. I don't know if I agree with it, but it's an interesting concept. Therefore, if you already know and have experienced everything, there'd be nothing left to fantasize about. Interesting. So, like, you'd be plagued with boredom, is what he's saying. Interesting. That's kind of cool. Okay, I'm into it. I feel you. I have to let that sit in my heart for a little while before I agree, because I really was with Senna on the whole ignorance is a sin thing. But that's an interesting concept. That's okay. You're making me think here. All right, I gotta let that simmer for a little bit. All right. And if there's one thing virgins definitely lack, it's experience. So it only makes sense that their delusions are the best around. Speaking of Senna, where was she? I searched the dimly lit platform for her. She was standing at the edge of the platform, hanging her head, and at her feet, Hatano-san was Hatano Issei, lying in a pool of his own blood. He showed no signs of moving, leading me to realize he was already dead. I was too late. If anyone was going to know where to find Noah 2, it would have been him.
Noah 2 is located right next to Shibuya Station.
Huh? Oh, she knew this whole time? As if she'd read my mind, with her eyes still aiming down at Hatano-san, at the corpse of her dead father, Senna began to murmur something.
When he was on the verge of death, his mind communicated with my own.
Oh, okay.
Near the east entrance of Shibuya Station, on the rooftop of the now defunct planetarium.
Dude, don't freaking planetarium me right now, dude. I know it's not even part of the same developers or series or anything like that, but you don't take me to the freaking planetarium again, all right? That's immediately what my mind just jumped to. What the frick? The now defunct planetarium? I don't think so. I don't need that kind of feels in my brain right now with all this going on.
That's where you'll find Noah 2.
Thanks. I wasn't sure if I should have said something to her, or just stayed silent. She hated her father, enough to want him dead. And even though her wish had come true, from where I stood, she looked miserable as could be.
Darn you. Do you really think protecting me was enough to atone for your sins?
Her words were targeted at her father's lifeless corpse, but he said nothing in return, and he never would again.
You confessed all your sins to me, and then, just to show it, you killed yourself. I can't forgive you. I can't forgive what you've done. Senna-chan, your heart is crying. Kozupi thinks the truth is you didn't want to kill your daddy.
It was just as Kozupi said. And with those words, Senna's usual resolute demeanor disappeared. Her shoulders trembled. Heartbroken, she fell to her knees.
Why? Couldn't you atone for your sins while you were alive? Why? Did you leave me all alone? Why?
Senna.
Nishicho, I beg you.
Senna raised her head. The teary expression on her face now was nothing like the stern one she always wore.
Destroy Noah too.
Suffering from a terrible grief, she spoke with the fragility of a girl who had just lost the only family she had left. Given you tried to kill me, I have zero obligation to hear you out.
Takumi-chan.
Turning my back toward Senna and Kozupi, I began to march down the tunnel to Shibuya Station. Before me were two giant gaping holes. A deep darkness stretched deep inside both of them. Passing through them would be the quickest way to get to Shibuya Station. For my own goals, and my own goals alone, I'll destroy Noah 2, no matter what. Yo, this is interesting. He did this with Shogun too, right? Anyone that's ever wronged him, he's like, I don't have any obligation to you. I don't have to forgive you. I don't have to do nothing. I don't have to do nothing for you. And yet he still goes and does the very same thing they asked. It just so happens that both of them want him to destroy Noah too, which he wants to do. But I'm just saying, I feel like there's something being said in the subtext there, right? Like, he's basically saying, no problem, I got you. You know what I mean? But it's like he's wanting to come to terms with the concept that, like, I don't want to owe anyone anything or something like that. You know what I mean? But I don't know how that makes sense for his character. I'm trying to, like, connect the pieces from the past. It's like, I feel like the main thing that he's going for here is that he wants to be his own person. Because once he figured out he was a delusion, that he wasn't normal, that he wasn't real, like he'd been saying over and over again in the beginning, it's like now he's like trying to distinguish himself as, you know, I don't owe you nothing. I'm my own person. You know what I mean? Like, I do whatever the heck I want. You can't tell me what to do. You know, it's almost as if to prove that to himself again. But yet, he still does care. He's just being really cold-hearted to, like prove that to himself or something, you know, like to prove his own existence. It's really strange, but it's kind of interesting. It's got this, like, weird feel-good feeling to it. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? I don't fully know how to articulate what's happening. I can just kind of feel it, you know? So interesting. I had a feeling Senna said something after that, but I wasn't listening anymore.